Welcome, champions, to the next overview and tier list ranking, featuring the newest champion. This is where we'll break down their mechanics and place them in my overall tier list for every champion in the game. So let's talk about Nixie, the chaotic neutral tiefling sorcerer in Seat 1. A true pyromaniac with an otherworldly obsession with Fireball. She serves the group as a DPS and support, and is our next member of the Awful Ones affiliation alongside Antreus. Her main attack is, surprising no one, Fireball, which centers on a random target and deals 1 hit of damage to all enemies in a nearby radius. And her ultimate attack is Fireball, which has her cast a gigantic fireball that deals 1 ultimate hit to all enemies. Also, there is a chance for each enemy hit to be surrounded by engulfing flames. But what is that? Well, technically, her primary attack can do more than just a smaller fireball because of her first formation ability. As a wild magic sorceress, Nixie gains the formation ability Wild Magic Surge, where each time she makes a normal attack, there is a high chance a magical event will happen. This varies between the following 7 possible effects. Engulfing flames, which, well, engulfs enemies in flames within the area of her attack for 20 seconds. And while lit, it deals 1 second of bud damage to enemies in the affected area. Potted Punch, where she will turn into a potted plant for 5 seconds, where she can't attack, but will increase the potency of Blazing Charisma by an amount while in that form and for 15 seconds after. We'll cover that one in a second. Coin Cascade, where gold will also fly out of those she attacks, worth 10% of their kill count. Shockwave, where she also sends out a shockwave that stuns enemies in the attack's area for 5 seconds. Feeling Blue, where she turns blue da-boo-dee-da-boo-die for 10 seconds. That's it. Eldritch Entourage, where she will summon a random monster. Or Enlarge, where her size increases, and so does her damage for 20 seconds. Wild magic is a bitch, but it can be fun. So about that Blazing Charisma, her bread and butter for both being a support and increasing her own damage. She increases the damage of all champions who have a 17 plus charisma, including herself. She also gains a boost to this in Gigantic Growth, increasing the damage boost of the wild magic effects, Potted Punch, and Enlarge. Her specializations focus entirely on increasing the effect of her Blazing Charisma, choosing either Anarchy Amplified, a 100% multiplicative bonus for each chaotic champion in the formation, Flawed Force, a 150% multiplicative bonus for each champion with a total ability score of 78 or less in the formation, or Infernal Impact, a 200% multiplicative bonus for each tiefling in the formation. Simply take the better boost for your formation, but it is worth noting that this makes her uniquely synergize with Farida, who loves taking almost every tiefling in the game along with her, while having enough charisma to benefit from Blazing Charisma. Well, so do all of the DPS tieflings for that matter, Makos, Strix, Prudence, Farida, and, well, Nixie herself. And keep in mind, if using Farida, her dad Mehen has a feat to make him count as a tiefling, and this does work for Nixie's specialization choice. Her equipment slots are favorable, 2 reserved for all champ damage, 1 directly for her Blazing Charisma, 1 for her Gigantic Growth, and 1 for her Specializations, to further increase that multiplicative boost. Her last slot is reserved for ultimate cooldown reduction, which I am always for having a slot for specs over ult damage. It all serves to make Blazing Charisma a pretty decent bonus. But even then, at the end of the day, she'll likely never really reach high enough to be an amazing support, but not bad. Her feats are pretty standard, nothing super fancy. Just take what will give you the biggest bonus to Blazing Charisma, or dip a little into Immolation to make her attacks deal persistent bud damage. So let's talk about her event, the Running. This year we have access to Shaka, Dungeon Master, and Nixie. An interesting bundle of champs, the most important to unlock being Dungeon Master, because of his shenanigans of being able to pull in other champions who are otherwise restricted in a variant. But as far as who to focus on for chests, DM doesn't scale amazingly well. And while Shaka is a half-decent support, he's not the most amazing scaler either. Nixie does have some decent scaling, but she's in a fairly competitive seat where a lot of people already have some favorites. There really isn't just a straight-up winner between them all. As always, unlock all of them and try to full epic all of them, but a hard focus? That's up to you. I'm going to get a lil Nixie rolling just because I find her fun, and if for some reason I ever have to transition out of Artemis, who knows, I might end up leading into Farida, because I am an availability slut. So why not get some fiery tiefling action? What about her achievement and adventure variants? Her achievement is very simple, obtainable with her being either a support or a DPS, requiring you to kill 1,000 enemies with her engulfing flames. Just slot her and get to killing. Just be sure to use her ultimate if you want to speed it along. The variants fit what's become the standard of requiring her to be in your formation, able to be moved but not removed, tied to her mechanics in each variant. Her first is simple, requiring any DPS you use to have that 17+ charisma for blazing charisma. At that point, you really might as well just use her. The second starts her out unlocked with Wild Magic Surge and makes her attack faster. But be careful because she just might attack your party by accident, removing 20% of their maximum health. Think about potentially slotting some healers for this one. And lastly, her third will only allow the use of tieflings, chaotic champions, or those with total ability scores of 78 or lower, to match her specialization choices. This is quite a large pool to select from, so this really shouldn't be an issue for anyone. Her availability is actually pretty damn bad. 1 patron and only half of the day 1 trials restrictions, and no feats to make up for it. She's not the strongest gal, so she doesn't qualify for Zariel. She's neutral, so no Mert. And she cannot be used for Strahd because she doesn't have that 12 intelligence. Because her int is, my god, 3? In order to understand language, most creatures need at least 4. One wonders what goes on in that pretty pink head of hers. Her buffing potential is restrictive by nature, as Charisma 17+ in a DPS is somewhat rare. Really only Prudence, Lucius, Birdsong, Farida, or Nixie herself, for those most people would end up picking. And while she's an alright DPS, she's not going to be swinging with some of the heavier hitters. But having an alright DPS right away in Seed 1 can be useful for beginners, no doubt. In her specific niche, she's good. Not the best, but higher than average. But her availability mixed with her niche nature makes her a hard sell. If she fits in that tight spot for you, give her a try. But as far as my tier list goes, she's going in the lower middle of C tier. Always remember to desperately cling to those fleeting feelings of happiness through empty nostalgia as you get older and your body starts to decay and shut down as you draw closer to your final breath. That void inside you're trying to fill with anything and everything, but it just stays hollow because you can't ever really find that missing piece. A Brazilian might call it saudade. Like me, going back and playing a game I haven't really touched in roughly 2 decades, because I have such fond memories of it. But really, it's just because I was younger, and while I was cynical even when I was younger, I hadn't fully come to realize just how batshit insane every single human being on this planet truly is. Wait, what is a trust? I get my own summonable party. I can teleport between crystals now. I can teleport between survival guides, quests, sparks. I can have a real mount. Never mind, the shit is tight. Always remember to have a hell of a time out there, champions.